Here at Olympic Park, we are ready for the women's 5,000 meters. There is Natalie Harvey from the Victoria Institute of Sport, and there, Sonia O'Sullivan. 2 seasons ago, perhaps the most dominant women's distance runner in all of track and field.
And a long-awaited return here this winter down under, if you will, is for Sonia O'Sullivan, who will be starting out in lane 8 next to Sonia Barry, who is a very noted and solid New Zealand distance runner. Some of the crowd of 20,000 that have gathered here in this beautiful facility. Melbourne is the sports capital, as Bob mentioned, of this country. 5,000 meters, 12 plus laps around the track. When they come around again, they'll have 12 laps. And there's O'Sullivan, who really, we should probably touch base here, had set the world on fire. 1993, 4, 5, had a terrific first 6 races prior to her Olympic race. The whole country of Ireland expecting big things. Certainly one of the co-favorites for the 5,000 meters in Atlanta. Had just a terrible race, just an awful, awful race. Didn't understand why. Different, you know, it was described later as a stomach virus and major problems, but it took her until 1997 to recover, and she never came all the way back last year after just shining like a brilliant meteor in the sky in women's distance running for the prior 3 years when she was ranked #1 in the world.
Pace setter is number 74, Nicole Webster. O'Sullivan runs second. In third, number 61, is Clair Fearnley from the BIS.
Well, you know, the pace here, very solid. O'Sullivan ran a good 3,000 meters, Bob, in New Zealand, coming here to see how she would do at 5,000 meters. She's been in country in Australia here in Melbourne training since November and has taken advantage of the good, solid, warm weather down here to get acclimated and focus on her training. She lives most of the year in England, in Teddington, even though she is Irish by birth.
Kathy Butler of Canada runs in 4th in the black outfit. A number of northern athletes like to use Australia and New Zealand as a wintertime training base.
That's a good point. This is the 3rd year for O'Sullivan, and look, she's separating herself from the rest of the field. A lap and a half here into this race. Generally what happens, if you're unfamiliar with international running and rabbiting, they will go to the 1 or 2 or 3 best athletes in a race of more than 1 lap and say, what pace would you like? And then they will tell the rabbit, the meet directors, will tell what will happen. Now I'm watching the leg turn over here, and she has sped up just a little bit here as she comes and approaches the 800 meters. Frequently when that happens, and O'Sullivan will say, whisper up to her, faster, or something like that, and the pace will pick up. You actually are able to have, when you have other runners around you like this, they break the wind like cars do in automobile racing. And it actually is easier to run with someone in front of you.
Kylie Risk now moves into 3rd place behind the pace setter and O'Sullivan. The pacemaker has dropped out, and Sonia O'Sullivan of Ireland is running well ahead of the pack. You can see them trailing in the very far distance. About a 60-meter lead for Sonia O'Sullivan, who appears to be fully back on form, Larry.
You know, her miles are running. There's the rest of the pack, and she's got a huge lead. We're talking over 100 meters. She's closing in about probably 80 or 90 meters right now as they come around and they approach the first 1,600 meters of this race. O'Sullivan's right on about a 4-minute and 50-second pace for the first mile.
Now Kathy Butler of Canada moves back into 2nd place. Also in that group, Kylie Risk.
From New Zealand.
But at this point, this group is fighting over 2nd place because this woman, Sonia O'Sullivan, is running a courageous early pace.
Well, dreams won't work, Bob, unless you do. No matter what endeavor you're in life, this woman had to come back from tremendous disappointment. I mean, she was shattered after the Olympic Games, and she made several other attempts at races, 2 others that were disasters in 1996. And after coming off the highest pedestal you can, she just cratered, and yet she had to start from ground zero and rebuild in 1997.
And now we rejoin the women's 5,000 meters being dominated by Sonia O'Sullivan.
Big performance for her. This will build the confidence from the months and months of training as she got herself partially back last year, made the World Championships finals outdoors, did not run particularly well. And I talked about how well she had done before this, Bob. Most of the runners, frankly, do not, in their own minds and amongst themselves, respect what the Chinese have done in 1993 when they just scorched the rest of the world. These athletes don't respect the Chinese and don't even consider them the world record holders. They're on the books, but they don't feel it was done honorably, I suppose you could say. 4 people have run faster than Sonia O'Sullivan, but her 8 minutes and 21 seconds for 3,000 meters is recognized in the sport amongst the athletes as the true world record for 3,000 meters. And she is getting back to that form.
Kylie Risk and Natalie Harvey run 2nd and 3rd. We'll be back. Welcome back to Melbourne and the Nike Track Tour. Bob Barsha, Larry Rawson with you. Sonia O'Sullivan leading the women's 5,000 meters as the group well behind her begins to sort itself out late in the race.
I'm tired watching it. I mean, it seems like she has been running and running and running, and she continues with every stride to lengthen her lead, Bob. World indoor record holder at 5,000 meters in 1991, 15:17. The world record holder at 2,000 meters. 1995, she lost only 1 race. She is leading this pack of runners. Some of them, certainly, they're record holders in their country and amongst the best, and she is just absolutely decimating the field.
There is Sonia, if I'm not mistaken, a 2-time winner of the Golden 4 bounty. A series that is developing into a much larger concept for this summer on the International Track and Field Tour. Along with that, she picked up a share of some 20 bars of solid gold, several $100,000 worth of profits in that summer for Sonia O'Sullivan. And now the pack behind her beginning to string out 3. Back to the women's 5,000 meters now. Sonia O'Sullivan continues to dominate the show. There's Kylie Risk, number 174. 12 is Sonia Barry from New Zealand. 87, Natalie Harvey from the VIS.
Under into the circle in the shot put.
Running 5th, and Cross from Victoria in Australia.
2,000 meters reached in approximately 6 minutes and 5 seconds. And she is clicking along very, very well here. She's on a pace to run about between 15:05 and maybe 15:15, depending on how she picks it up. On the last lap, look at the perspiration on the warm night here in Melbourne.
She's running very, very well, and it's a great sign to see Sonia O'Sullivan back to fitness now. As moving up from 4th, and Cross from Australia has moved into 4th place now, and the pace is definitely picking up.
I talked about the brilliant season she had prior to the Olympics for 3 straight years. She was the world champion at 5,000 meters in 1995, Bob, and in 1992 just missed medaling, getting a 4th place in the Olympics at 3,000 meters.
Crowd surprisingly quiet on this night. Australians, very sophisticated track and field fans, kind of expected a little more of the European flavor, perhaps a bit of clapping, rhythmic clapping to help the runners along.
Which, of course, is very prominent in Europe. You can see the arm action is picking up here as she has less than 2 laps to go here at the 5,000 meters. She attended school in the United States at Villanova University, noted for, of course, its tremendously rich Irish heritage. And she was an accountant major, and she is measuring this field here tonight.
Tim Forsyth passed at that height. Those 3 athletes remain in the competition. We'll revisit it a little bit later on. Right now, the closing laps of the women's 5,000 meters, and Sonia O'Sullivan has been unstoppable.
She is noted for strong finishes, has very good speed, excellent at 1,500 meters, and that always translates to very good running and fast finishers over 5,000 meters. And look at her stride along as she is approaching about 200 meters left to go in the race. This crowd of 20,000 giving her a wonderful ovation.
O'Sullivan holds the meet record set back in 1995. Looking across the oval now to the finish and working hard. The crowd getting behind her now with about 150 meters left to go for Sonia O'Sullivan.
Let's get behind her and bring her home.
Very good stadium announcing here at this Nike-sponsored event. They put all this together and did it the way they wanted to do it. Sonia O'Sullivan, Bob, wonderful finish. Wonderful.
Unofficially, 15 minutes, 3.3 seconds. Think of what she could have done with a little bit of competition. The gap to 2nd place nearly 40 seconds.
And that is an all-comers record. There you see it flashed up on the screen, 15:04. She was under that. Nobody's ever run faster in Australia as we watch the rest of the field close in for second and third place.
And Cross has second right now, but moving up quickly, Sonia Barry from New Zealand. To the line they come. Barry with the momentum. She will move into second place. And Ann Cross will be demoted to third.
A victory by Sonia O'Sullivan by over half a lap here. And look at the celebratory victory lap across the track.
Keep in mind, this is just the beginning of a long summer of track and field across the world.
The pursuit of happiness is a chase of a lifetime, and she thought it might take a lifetime last year at this time. But success for her, she's back.
You really own this event in Australia, don't you? And you've proved that tonight.
Yeah, no, this is my favourite place to start off the year. Favourite place to run 5,000. And tonight was unbelievable. I mean, the crowd was fantastic, and I couldn't help myself going around there and just thanking them. And just sneaking a warm down lap as well.
Now, what about that time? 15:03:29.
Yeah, I was pretty pleased with that. I was looking for under 15 tonight, but when it was windy, I said I'll just go out there and run around, feel comfortable, and get with the pace. And I think I forgot about it for a while, and then that last lap I came home and felt strong and good, and just wish there was a few people up there closer in the middle of the race.
I was going to say, it must have got awfully lonely out there.
It was a little bit, but you don't think about that, and there's field events going on around, there's people cheering, you just feel energy in the stadium here tonight. Oh, it's fantastic.
You were world champion in 1995. Do you feel now that you're ready to retain that title?
Oh yeah, I mean, I went from #1 in the world to way down there somewhere in the, I don't know where, and I can definitely get back up there. I feel it in my legs, I feel it in my heart, and I feel it in my mind, and I'm just ready to get out there and run fast.
Well, if tonight was any example, Sonia O'Sullivan is ready to run fast. She breaks her own meet record. Sonia Barry finishes second, and Ann Cross in third. Keep in mind the Australian athletes in this field wrapping up a long summer of competition on their own Grand Prix circuit, as well as running with the best in the world.